we have now reached the point where it really matters. Which direction will we break out in? What are we seeing with the altcoins? Because I'm sure that what we might see now with the altcoins will be crucial. Personally, I could imagine a bigger altcoin pump happening soon. Today, we're definitely going to go through some charts that are extremely important, that are meaningful, and that you need to understand here. Things that most people don't really have on their radar. And that's why, friends, I would really appreciate it if you could already give the video a little like and leave a comment. You have no idea how much that helps me. And regarding the topic of the video, let's now take a look at what we can expect to see here in the near future. A breakout or a downtrend for the altcoins? An extremely crucial question. I'm currently so optimistic about the altcoins because we've just had a longer period of stagnation here, and in the past, whenever we broke out of this stagnation phase and surpassed the all-time high again, the altcoins performed. That was exactly the moment right here. Take a look at it. When we broke the all-time high here, that was around November 6th. Let's go over to the altcoins and see when did they perform. On the 5th, 6th of November, that's when we had a really massive breakout in the altcoins here on 120%. And you have to imagine Bitcoin had actually already done this beforehand, but altcoins didn't really move during that period. They just stagnated. But when we then broke a new all-time high, that's when the altcoins also started to perform really well. I just showed you that. And right now, we're exactly at that point again. We've just set a new all-time high, had another interim correction here, and now we're almost at a new all-time high again. And this could be the moment when the altcoins also start to perform really well. Because, as I said, during the last breakout, that was exactly the moment when the altcoins performed really well, when some really nice momentum came in. And if we take a look at the altcoins now, we can see that they're already performing quite well at the moment. But that's also due to another factor, because I've shown you this several times in the videos over the past few weeks. And this chart is incredibly important, guys. You have to understand this. Drill this into your heads, please. If we're above the 25 EMA on the daily chart for Bitcoin, that's good. If we're above it for the altcoins, that's the best thing that can happen to us. So as I said, we should be above the 25 EMA for both Bitcoin and the altcoins. That's the perfect momentum for everyone. Let's switch over to the chart. So what happened now? During this correction, we briefly dropped below it, but now we've seen a breakout above the 25 EMA for Bitcoin again, and also for the altcoins. With the altcoins, we were significantly lower. That's why the altcoins haven't really performed in the last 1 or 2 weeks, but now we've broken through again here, even found support, and are currently above it, which is extremely important. Accordingly, the altcoins are performing as well. Sometimes you can understand the market so easily if you grasp these basic things. And because we've now seen the breakout here, I could imagine that this would be the next major breakout, especially for the altcoins. Because in the past, this major breakout also came with a break at the 25 EMA. The last big altcoin rally also simply came with a break above the 25 EMA. We need to be clearly above it. Right now, we're building up momentum nicely here. And it could really be that in the next few weeks, we'll see a great altcoin run. And the brilliant thing we've seen here in the past few weeks is simply the fact that we are once again at new all-time highs, but we're nowhere near overheated. Down here, we can see that quite well on the premium indicator. We're not in a state of euphoria here. We're not overheated, nothing like that. And that's the advantage in this bull run. We're rising step by step. We're not shooting up all at once. We're climbing gradually. And each time we're slowly taking out that selling volume bit by bit. And that's how in this cycle we can climb significantly higher with Bitcoin. That's really solid. You can also see that on this chart. Take a look at this. Here for the first time we tested our cycle top from 2021. During this period, that was around the time of the Bitcoin ETF. Down here we can see the Google Trends queries. We did get a bit of retail interest here, but of course nowhere near as much retail as in the last cycle. Then we set new all-time highs here. Bitcoin rose to $108,000. We got a bit more retail interest again. And then we had this sideways phase, this correction phase. We're currently at $110,000 and we don't have any retail on the market. Seriously, there's nothing at all in the market right now. Retail is completely gone. The market has been completely cleared out. Selling interest has been gradually weeded out of the market. And that's why we simply have greater upward potential. And you just have to understand that this cycle so far has only been driven by institutional investors. Take a look at this chart. Here you can clearly see who is investing in the Bitcoin Spot ETF. And you can see clearly there's really no way it could be clear that this is not retail. We see hedge fund managers, banks, governments, and so on. But what we see here is that there's virtually no retail currently participating in the market. But that also gives me confidence that we still have to go much higher because these institutions, they also want to sell at some point. And they will sell when retail really comes in, when this mass euphoria sets in, because they need that. Otherwise, they can't sell their Bitcoins at high prices here. Accordingly, they will make sure that we really get a lot of volume coming in here. Especially when looking at the Ethereum chart, we can see that we've had a really nice breakout here, and Ethereum and Bitcoin are truly the absolute leaders in this cycle. Even though Ethereum was declared dead, it's now clear again. If any asset rules the altcoin market, it's Ethereum. When Ethereum rises, the altcoins rise as well. We definitely have a support zone here, but we've climbed well above it. From a technical chart perspective, things are looking really, really good for Ethereum right now. We also had, if you look at it in context, Ethereum in comparison to Bitcoin was in a downtrend for years, but that's normal. It was the same way in the last cycle. But right now, it looks like we've established our bottom here and are about to rise as if Ethereum is about to outperform Bitcoin. That's how it looks at the moment, because ultimately you have to say we were pretty much at the low from the 2019 bear market, and that's why everything points to this having been the Ethereum bottom, and that we could really be aiming for the next major upward trend here. It's precisely during these market phases that I take a close look at the altcoins and carefully observe how the altcoins are performing relative to Bitcoin. For example, what you see here in the background is the Bit&Sur Tau chart in relation to Bitcoin, so it's really shown in comparison. That's why you can also see it up here. Here we can clearly see that since the low, Bit&Sur has shown really strong performance and has definitely outperformed Bitcoin. This kind of thing shows strength, and it's important, especially as we move further towards an altcoin season. It's exactly the same, for example, with a meme coin like Pepe. Pepe in relation to Bitcoin has performed well over the past few days and weeks, strongly outperforming Bitcoin. That's already a good sign that maybe a project like this could get a bigger share of the pie and perform better in a mature bull run or during an altcoin season. You can also check all of this on CoinMarketCap. Here we can see it on the altcoin season index. We are still far from being in an altcoin season, but down here we can see which altcoins have performed well over the past 90 days. Here we can also see Bitcoin, and there are already a few projects that have strongly outperformed Bitcoin. However, in comparison, we still have many more projects that have not outperformed Bitcoin. The projects that are already outperforming Bitcoin now usually do so as well when we have a mature bull run. And that already shows strength at this point. That's why I'm already paying attention to these little details. At this point, I'd be really interested to know which altcoins are you currently keeping an eye on? And should I maybe talk a bit over the next few days about some altcoins I'm watching and that I think are good? Because I feel like we really haven't done that in the past few months. Which of course makes sense. The altcoins just haven't gotten any attention. So we've always talked about the entire market, but not about the altcoins. But please feel free to leave your comments. What interests you in this altcoin sector? Which projects are you looking at? Which projects should I maybe talk about in the future? And at this point, I want to sincerely thank you for watching. And with that, I'd say see you next time, friends. Ciao.